and welcome to Ghouls Night In, the spooky chat show with your best ghoul friends. I'm Penny Snark.
And I'm Midge Munster.
And as promised, today we have a Christmas creature feature.
Yay!
Yes, there are just so many delightful creatures and folklore from around the world that kind of fit into that spooky, weird Christmas style. So we just wanted to chat
Yes.
about like all of them.
Yeah, we can't pass up an opportunity to talk about the spooky side of a holiday. So uh, let's just get right into it. Penny, I know you've got a friend that you would love to tell us all about.
I do. My favorite friend. So I did a whole presentation on this spooky friend for one of my friend's presentation parties, as many of us I feel like had over the COVID times. Uh, but
How am I the Virgo in this situation?
I don't know. I love me a good presentation. But I wanted to talk about Mary Lloyd, who I am pronouncing as best as I can. Uh, but apologies if it is not extremely good.
I feel like that's going to be a theme in this episode, so go easy on us.
Yes, we're
we
trying our
we are,
best.
but we Midwesterners with terrible accents.
It's true. Many of you may have seen a depiction of this Christmas creature around, even if you didn't know her. So this is a Welsh Christmas tradition, sometimes translated as Grey Mare or Grey Mary. And this is a decorated horse skull on a stick.
Whoa!
What? Yeah. So this started as a pagan midwinter tradition in South Wales, connected to the tradition of wassailing that we see, kind of throughout Europe.
I actually didn't know. I knew a little bit about this about Mary Lloyd, but I didn't know that it was a wassail thing.
Yeah, yeah. And so, of course, unsurprisingly, she was criticized as sinful by the church because they never let us have any fun.
All good things are.
Right. And so Mary Lloyd really lost popularity in the first half of the 20th century, but has been enjoying a revival thanks to, folk organizations that are bringing back some of these classic traditions.
I actually have a friend, Kim. I don't know if she listens to the pod, but I hope she does. Um, she does like a creepy Christmas display on the outside of her house, and she has like a Krampus and a Mary Lou and all these
Uh,
like, uh,
love it.
and it makes me very very happy.
Yes. So the way that you would celebrate this tradition is you've got yourself a horse skull and you put it on a stick, decorate it with lots of streamers and baubles. And a lot of times you'll see like some, like, it looks like ornaments like in the eye sockets
Oh,
and stuff like that. And then you drape a white sheet over the person who is carrying the stick. So it's just kind of like this big horse head emerging at the top, and you go around through town, and you stop at houses to sing songs, and you have, so it is, I will do my best, this word has only one vowel in it, and it is at the end. um so I think
we love the Welsh.
I'm gonna say punko. It's PWNCO,
Mm.
which says a tradition of exchanging rude rhymes. And this has been described today in modern times as rap battling a horse skull about Christmas. And so she is trying to convince you to let her come inside. And you're like, no, no, Mary, you can't come in. But obviously, if she wins, you have to let everyone inside. And there are treats and drinks and all of that good stuff.
I mean, wassailing is really Christmas trick or treating, which I
It
really,
is.
really love. That I think we should try to reestablish this for Americans. I
Right?
want Christmas trick or treating.
And it's Christmas trick or treating with booze. So even
Amen.
better, you have to
Yeah.
show up and be like, give me some wine. And they're like, okay, I guess I have to.
Okay, but first, rap battle this horse skull.
But yeah, it's delightful. You can look up some videos on YouTube and kind of watch a modern day procession. And it seems like a lot of fun. And Marlene is kind of like a pranky type of, pagan entity. So that's kind of part of why, you're like, oh no, you can't come in the house. Like, you're going to pull pranks on me.
There's a lot of kind of prank and jest in a lot of these older folklore, like Yule folklore,
Mm-hmm.
uh, like the Yule lads, like all of these
Yes.
kind of creatures that, come into your house and steal your treats.
Yes. Get up to something. I will say one of my very favorite things when I was originally researching this is people were someone who, was the representative of like, their local society who was putting this on was asked about sourcing a horse skull.
That's what I
And
was thinking. It's like, where does
and
one?
and they were like, this is like rural Wales. There are horse skulls
Yeah,
to
okay,
be
that's fair.
had.
I'm just like picturing some like a farmer, like
Mm-hmm.
their horse passes away in like July, let's
Mm-hmm.
say, and they're like, "Oh, better hold on to Bessie's skull for Christmas time." Like,
Yes. Gotta have it for the festive times. I was discussing Marlweed with some friends at brunch the other day, and we were talking about potentially like 3D printing a
oh yeah,
skull as like a modern alternative if you do not have farms about where you could easily get a horse skull.
vegan Mary Lude, yeah.
Yes. But she's just such a delight, and it's like such a striking image. I feel like, obviously it is a big horse skull on a stick, but it is very festive in its own way with all the streamers and like decorations.
It
And I
kind of
just,
looks like a maypole with
it
a horse
does.
head on it.
Yeah.
For to give you all the visual, paint you a word picture.
Yes. Yes. So she is pretty fabulous and is definitely one of my top Christmas creatures of the world.
I think we should have a like a roaring Creepmas party, and we'll have like a Krampus parade and go wassailing with our horse skull, and
Yes.
anyone who would like an invite to next year's Christmas creature feature party.
Heck yeah. That'd be delightful. Do you have a critter to tell me about?
Oh boy.
There are
So
so many
many, but
choices.
well, we did kind of get. I mentioned the Yule lads, and this
Yes.
ties into one of my other favorite little shindigs here. You and I talked a little bit pre-recording. Gryla is the Icelandic kind of version of Krampus in a way, but like way worse, like way scarier. Um, there is this Icelandic lore that, and it traces back. I was reading this Smithsonian article, as far as like 1300. There are like tracings of people telling stories about Gryla,
Hmm.
whose name like loosely translates to growler,
Ah.
which is either very scary or sounds like something you put beer in. And so Gryla is they call her the Christmas witch, but really she's like a troll slash ogre type
Mm.
creature who lives in the mountains, and she comes down. This is my favorite part. She comes down to collect children for her
Hmm.
lazy husband to make
Oh.
stew, and it's a big deal about how the Smithsonian article also called her loosely like Iceland's first feminist. Because there's all these stories about her getting like bored and eating her husband.
All
She's like,
right.
I'm done with him.
That's
Uh,
fair.
but I have the one interpretation of the poem or like kind of rhyme that's told about Gryla. Down comes Gryla from the outer fields with 40 tails, a bag on her back, a knife in her hand, coming to carve out the stomachs of the children who cry for meat during Lent.
Ah. Gryla's not fucking around.
She surely is not. And so she is like associated with being basically like the mother figure of the Yule lads.
Mm.
So the Yule lads then are her like 13 adult sons. Like fully grown. But they are said to come kind of consecutively on the 13 days of Christmas,
Hmm.
and each of them has kind of a different prank that they pull. So like there's
Ah.
one who will eat the leftovers out of your pots, and there's one who comes and slams your doors, and there's one whose name literally translates to sausage stealer. And
Oh.
so her sons come for the 13 days, do all these little tricks and goofiness, and then she comes to collect the children who didn't learn their lesson and carve out their bellies. Uh, it's all very exciting. Again, I'm delighted by this. American kids get a lump of coal, and Icelandic kids like get their stomachs carved out by a troll.
Right. And I mean, I feel like Iceland is a hot spot for creepy Christmas things because they also have Yule Cat over
Yule
there.
Cat is also part of Gryla, but I will. Yes, you. I know you wanted to
Oh.
talk about Yule Cat.
I
Hit me.
I didn't know that Yule Cat and Gryla were buds.
They are. Yeah.
Yes, it. So for those who don't know, it is traditional to receive clothes as a gift in Iceland, and if you do not receive new clothes for Christmas, a big old Yule Cat is gonna come and eat you.
I love the like more modern depictions of Yule Cat. It's just like a 900-pound house cat like stepping on buildings.
Yes, it was talking. The article that I was reading was talking about how no one really knows like where Yule Cat specifically came from, but that there is like a big Scandinavian history of troll cats that
Hmm.
like you make this conjured creature with like dead man's bones to do your bidding, and they run around and cause trouble.
How nice.
You know, like you do,
You know when someone makes you mad and you make a cat out of dead man's bones?
and it comes and eats children.
Yeah, I was reading a bit about that too. Like Yule Cat, I found it interesting. I wish I could remember exactly what it said, but it was talking about the like thing about not getting, if you didn't get clothes, that the Yule Cat will come and eat you. And it was like because it showed that if you didn't receive some kind of like new clothing, that you hadn't like done any labor that year or so. It was like very
Oh.
specific, and I was like, what does that have to do with clothes? Like maybe you had worn out your old clothes from
Oh,
a
yeah.
year's hard work or something.
Yeah, because I was thinking, I'm like, that really seems unfair that my fate is based on whether someone else gave me clothes. Like, I
you,
didn't do anything wrong, but no one gave me clothes, so I'm gonna get eaten by a giant cat.
you know, somewhere like there's like Kevin is the black sheep of their family, and the whole family was like, whatever you do, nobody give Kevin any clothes.
No
We want
clothes
him
for
to get snatched up by Yule Cat. We're done with him. I also so there's a kind of a several I actually had a gal reach out to me to talk about like this thought of like a Christmas witch is very popular in a
Yeah.
lot of like European countries, which I love. Oh, I was gonna mention, did you watch Chilling Adventures of Sabrina?
And some of it, not all of it.
They did a Christmas special, and they had Gryla as one of the
Oh.
like witches who they kind of call upon to come help them with
Mm-hmm.
this. But like one of the plot lines in that episode was that like the Yule lads were terrorizing the town, and they had to like call Gryla to come down from the mountains and come get her kids. Um, and I thought that was so fun. I wonder like because she was definitely creepy in the show, but we'll share some pictures on Instagram of all these creatures we're talking
Mm-hmm.
about today, but she's horrifying. Like
Ooh.
Krampus is kind of funny, you know, like you're like, oh, little goat man. And then Gryla straight up like white face, beady eye, like horrifying.
Ooh.
Um but then in the show she was like kind of like she was creepy but kind of cute, and I was like,
Yeah.
I wonder if Iceland or like yeah, if like Icelandic people are pissed at this.
Inaccurate depictions of Gryla.
But there's also in like Austria and Germany they have Frau Pectra or Perkta. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it, but she's also like a Christmas witch character. But her whole thing is, again, it's just so, it's so truly horrifying. She, like, will come and cut you open while you're sleeping and remove
Mhm.
your innards and stuff you with straw.
Oh.
And then apparently, like, the like thing is that she does it in a way that people just think you passed in your sleep.
Oh, that's rough.
Like, you can't tell that she's been there.
No.
She's the world's best serial
I was
killer.
gonna say that's some next level serial killer.
She must be from Wisconsin.
Yes. Yeah, I was looking up, so like I looked up La Befana, who I often hear referred to as like an Italian Christmas witch, but she's not really very witchy. So I don't know if just the
I've never
sources.
heard of that one.
Yeah, so she's definitely very much part of like Christian
Mm-hmm.
lore, and so the
Well,
legend.
that's why she's not very witchy.
Yes. But so that's why I'm like, are we just calling her a Christmas witch because she's like an older lady at Christmas time? That's kind of sexist. Um, but she was approached by the three wise men who were on their way to Jesus, and they were
Oh.
like, "Hey, do you know which way to Jesus?" And she was like, "I'm not sure." And she invited them to stay at her house for the night because she was the best housekeeper in the village and had like the nicest, most well kept home. And they invited her to come with them afterward to go find Jesus. And she was like, "No, I'm too busy with my housework." And then later was like, "Oh my God, what a mistake," and tried to follow them but could not find them. So,
Oh.
so to this day, she is out searching for baby Jesus and will leave good children toys and candy, and bad children get coal, onions, or garlic.
Ooh, I want to be get bad. Give me some garlic.
Right? I'm like, I'll take that. But yeah, so she's kind of in that same tradition of like a woman out and about giving presents and stuff, but she's not really witchy, I don't think.
To me, the moral of that story is that she was a witch because she didn't want to go see Jesus.
Right? She was like, "No, I'm okay. I'm cool."
They were like, a woman who doesn't want to see Christ's son? Witch! She's a witch!
Gotta go find baby Jesus.
In the theme of kind of like weirdly not as bad characters, didn't you tell me you have some information about our friend Belschnickel?
I do have some information about Belschnickel. So obviously, most famous today for being featured on The Office.
Yes, thank you so much, Dwight K. Schrute, for giving us a
Yes.
very Spark Notes education on Belschnickel.
Yes. So Belschnickel is German folklore. And so he's kind of considered, he fills a similar role to Krampus, but he is not like the same as Krampus. So that was this article I read said that you should not confuse him with Krampus. So
Well, first of all, he's technically human, right? Like, he's a
yes,
man, yeah.
yes. So Krampus is like a demon, and he's like part of like very old pre-Christian tradition, and Belsnickel is like officially like a dirty man who is like so. Belzen actually means like furs, and Nickel is like a nickname for Nikolaus. So he like really is like kind of like furry, dirty Santa.
Yum.
So he is often so he's a disheveled man dressed in his furs and dirty clothes, and he visits homes in the weeks before Christmas to check up on your behavior and see what you're up to. And so they think that he might be based on a earlier figure who was also like a servant of Saint Nicholas, who was kind of like a house elfy kind of figure who would come and root out the naughty children and give them a switch for being bad.
See, that's we're fine with that. You can hit a kid with a stick. That's fine. Just don't carve out their insides or drag
Right.
them to
It's
hell,
like
and I'm fine.
comparatively, that's all right. But yeah, because it is from that area of Germany, it became a very big part of Pennsylvania Dutch communities with the German immigrants who came to North America, which is why it is part of the Schrute family
Yes.
folklore.
I'm actually like, I'm having a brain blast right now. Like, I don't know why this just came crashing back into my memory like the Kool-Aid Man, but I took French all through high school, and there is like a Belschnickel in France named Père Fouettard, and
Ooh.
he's literally like, he's the same, like, not the same thing, but he's literally like Santa Claus, but in brown robes with a black beard, carrying like a thing of switches on his back. Um, I completely forgot about that until right now.
Yeah, one of my favorite things was that they were talking about how Belschnickel was like popular enough in America that some people are like, he could have taken over and been like the prime Christmas character, and he was like super popular in Philadelphia, and they would have local Belschnickels who would prowl the streets in the 1800s.
Oh my
But they were
god.
saying that because, so like Belschnickel was popular in Philadelphia and Santa Claus was popular in New York City. And like in the early 1800s, they were kind of similar size and of similar like cultural influence. But
Huh.
obviously, New York became much bigger than Philadelphia. And so this article at least says that the, kind of post Civil War popularization of Santa Claus from like kind of the New York City like editorials and appearances is what brought kind of our family centric Santa focus versus like mischievous Belschnickel.
Well, and it's interesting. Like, I'm sure that you could, you know, follow this trail back, but at what point Santa became like the dealer of both, presents and coal. Like, now he
Yeah.
doesn't have somebody else who like does his dirty work for him. And I think that's, I don't know. I think it's a loss, a cultural loss. I wish I wish we had a scary boy to come along.
He is pretty. It is good. It is nice to have that foil, that narrative foil always does some good work in being like, well, and I mean, I don't know. It's interesting because otherwise it's like, Santa's just very nice and there's this bad person who does mean things. And so if Santa's the one who's also doling out punishments, like you can't make him too mean or else then he's scary and you're not happy about
Right.
the gifts and stuff. So,
I guess.
well, it makes
Fine.
it makes Santa a more neutral figure in a
He's a
way.
gray character.
Yes.
I do have a another little quip that is not a scary like monster per se, but I did just do like a little thing on the Christmas spider
Oh, yes.
for YouTube, and I thought let's talk about it here too because
Yeah.
it's cute. It's cute, spooky. Um, so there is like a legend from Ukraine where there's a story about this woman who's been widowed and her children, and they like don't have the means to decorate their home for Christmas that year,
Hmm.
and they like go to sleep, and when they wake up in the morning spiders have come and like put webs all over their tree and decorated the house with their webs, and the children like run over to the window and throw the curtains open, and the webs like sparkle silver and gold in the light.
Mm.
And so now it's like, to this day, good luck for you to have like a spider ornament or a spider web ornament on your tree, and that's supposed to bring like prosperous new year for you. And it's also the legend that is said to be where the like loose tinsel
Oh.
decorations came from, where that originated, which I loved that little connection because tinsel is so kitsch and so
Yes.
mid-century. So I love that it kind of blossomed out of something a little bit spooky.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of the Christmas spider legend until a couple of years ago, I think, but we did have a spider web ornament growing up that was
Oh,
like had
really?
belonged to like my mom's grandma, I think. So it was like a family heirloom ornament, and it was like a very delicate like gold web with like a crystal like dewdrop on it.
Oh,
And I
cool.
loved it always, but was kind of like weird that we have a spider web ornament
Oh
because
my
there
gosh.
definitely wasn't anything else even remotely spooky about our
Yeah.
Christmas stuff. And then I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Have you like asked your mom about it at all? Like if it was, did she know if it was passed down like from that story?
I don't know. I will have to ask her. But yeah,
Mom,
it
we
was.
know you're listening.
Yes, Mom, tell me about our spiderweb ornament.
Our operators are standing by. Call
Yes.
in,
But yeah,
Mrs. Snark.
speaking of like ornaments, this did not count at all as like a Christmas creature, but I
I
wanted
can't wait. I know exactly what you're gonna say.
I thought I would share it just as a general like wacky Christmas traditions thing, which is that we were a Christmas pickle
Christmas
family growing
pickle.
up. And I feel
Yeah.
like the Christmas pickle is one of like the most delightful things because it's just full of lies and mystery.
See,
And
again, general pranking and jest.
yes, and everyone like you grow up being told that the Christmas pickle is a German thing,
Hmm.
and then Germans are like, "What?
We
That's
don't
not.
claim
We
that.
didn't do that. That's not our thing." But no, we always had a Christmas pickle on the tree. And for those who don't know, someone on the family hides the pickle ornament on the Christmas tree, and then on Christmas morning, whoever finds the pickle gets to open the first gift.
Yay.
And it's
It's kind of
difficult.
spooky. It's green and it has warts like a witch.
Yeah, it's very true. Maybe the Christmas pickle is our own Christmas witch.
I actually had an epiphany just now. You know what the modern like Belschnickel is Elf on
Mm.
a Shelf.
Oh, it is.
Like that is Santa's wacky counterpart these days.
Oh, I hate the elf on the shelf.
Well, we didn't grow up with it, and like
No,
I don't have kids, you don't have kids. Like I am
no.
not of the era of Elf on a Shelf, and I don't really understand it. I mean, I please don't explain it to me. I do
Yes.
understand it. Please, nobody like come on the don't DM me. I know how it
No.
works. I just saying like I don't
I have
know.
so many friends who are parents who are like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to Christmas, is having to deal with this stupid elf. And I'm like,
That's the real
yeah.
monster.
Yes, the real monster of Christmas is the elf who surveils you 24/7 as though Santa wasn't already keeping a list and keeping an eye on you.
He
And
sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. It's right there in the song. We don't need elves.
right, and then they're always running around and doing weird things and they fall and kids panic and it's a whole it's too much. I'm like the Santa surveillance is like a little bit weird when you get older, but you're like, all right. But like the direct, like, there is a thing in my house that is watching me at all times. I'm not a
Yeah.
fan. I'm not a fan.
You know that was it a Vine where it's just you better watch out. You
You
better
better
watch
watch
out.
out.
You
You
better
better
watch
watch
out.
out. Yes.
See, Santa can be scary. Yay.
It's true. He can. And, whoa, that so this is hashtag new Christmas cryptid dropping. We had a discussion at this brunch that I was at about how Santa is a vampire.
Oh.
He
Oh, I
is
already love this.
he
Yes.
is eternal and unchanging. He moves at preternatural speeds. He can
Mhm.
obviously transform into a mist or something to come down your chimney.
Now, so oh. Are the milk and cookie leaving out milk and cookies like his version of he has to be invited in? So if you
Ooh,
leave out
yes.
milk and
It
cookies, he
is an
can come into
invitation.
your house.
Yes, and we were saying, he has obviously never been captured on camera and video because he cannot,
He
his
can't
physical form
be.
cannot be recorded.
Oh my god.
Mm, Santa
He's
vampire.
he is in a weird way like feasting off of youth. like like
Yes, he feeds on your Christmas
Christmas
magic.
spirit. Yeah. We all know what that means. That's the souls of children.
He's an energy vampire like Colin Robinson.
Yes. Okay. This is
So
hashtag new Christmas cryptid.
yes, so I invite all Ghouls Night In listeners to start introducing the concept of Vampire Santa to your friends and family this holiday season, and let's get this thing going.
Hashtag Vampa.
I was gonna say Santapire.
Sampire, yeah. Something. We'll get there. We'll figure
Yes,
out a good name for him.
Vampa Claus.
Vampa Claus. There it is. Dracula Claus.
Yes. So those are our wonderful Christmas creatures. I would love to hear about any of you who have Christmas creatures or cryptids that are part of your holiday traditions and celebrations, because I feel like it's pretty clear that Midge and I are disappointed that we didn't have any creepy monsters chasing us through our childhood. So please let us live vicariously through your experience.
Bring out your monsters.
And if you celebrate, we hope you have a Merry Christmas, because this is coming out the week of Christmas.
Woo! Have yourself a scary little Christmas. We can't wait to see ya next time.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us today. You can always find us at Ghouls Night In Pod on Instagram. And if you enjoyed the show, please do leave us a like or a review. Tell a friend. I feel like this is a wonderful episode to listen to on Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, whenever you're having a celebration. Just pull it out there. And if you are looking for me, you can find me at Penny Snark on all the platforms.
And you can find me across all things at Midge Munster.
And until next time,
Goodbye.
goodbye.